Okay, my next project, guys, is removing these. So I have to take this off and I have to tint the light. I have the paint to paint those and I have the tint for the light. So I already started. So I removed this wheel and there's a screw that holds it in place. So this is inside the wheel well. You have to undo that screw and a screw on this side, but there's no way to access it because the supercharger has this radiator in here. So you literally have to take off this entire front bumper to undo the two screws. So that really sucks. It clips in and then there's two screws. So we have to take off this whole piece right here. So I just removed that wheel well. It's just a bunch of screws, really easy. Just remove this grill. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 screw holes. And then it snaps in right there, right there, right there, and right there. And you literally just have to tug on it. You literally just have to pull on it hard and it'll pop out. So that's how you remove the grill. And then now I'm just removing these little 8mm screws. So then I can move on with taking off these fog lights. So, and I don't need to drive this anywhere for a few days, so it's not the end of the world that I have to do this, but it's definitely annoying. I don't know why they couldn't just made it just so it snaps in, but it snaps and screws. So, yeah, that tells you to do this. So I'm just undoing these. These flaps open, which are pretty cool, into the engine behind the grill. Okay, so now those are off, 8mm. Okay, so if you come under by the wheel, there's 2 Phillips, one right there that you have to undo, one on each wheel. And then you have to pull this back off again. So you do left, each 90 degrees. And it should slide down like that. And then that pops down. It's very dusty. And then you just kind of wiggle it. And there's just a few steps that hold in place. And yes, I painted this and it looks so good. Put it like that. Now that's off. Let's see what's under here. So it looks like we got 1, 2, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got 6 Torx screws to remove, probably Torx 30. Let's see right now. Okay, I just removed the 6 Torx. There they are. And now this whole front is pretty loose. So, okay, I just removed the driver's side wheel. Move the 2 Phillips right there. We'll have 1, 2, 3 of these little pop out guys. So I just use a flathead. I go in there, I kind of just like, I go in there and twist it. Kind of go on all sides and twist it like that, and then pull it out with my hand like that. Do the same on this guy. Sometimes they're stiff. So just pop those 3 out, and then this shield will come out. Okay guys, I kind of skipped ahead a bit, but I'll show you exactly what I did to get to this point. Okay, that was a bit stressful getting that taken out, but we got it. So from the last clip, I took out that dust well. And then there was a screw right here and right there. I undid those. I also undid this 10 millimeter, which I later found out was unnecessary, so I'll put that back on. And then once I undid those two, I pulled that off and unclipped that. And then I came to the other side, spilled my washer fluid, and I unclipped that, and I unclipped that. It's a Phillips. And then the whole front bumper was loose. So I kind of pulled it forward and it came off. And then I rushed to disconnect this. It didn't really disconnect. I think I broke it. Clearly, as you can see. And then I pulled this hose off. They come off these little things. You just slide them forward and back and they'll come off with the tape. And then boom, your whole bumper is off. So with what I'm trying to do, I need to unscrew the fog light. So I'm not actually removing, I'm just removing the cover. So looks like probably just that Torx and that Torx probably. But no, that Torx right there. So that one and that one. Those two is all I needed. And then you push, and then of course you push on these flaps and then it'll pop out. And then I'm also gonna tint the light. Okay, I'll show you guys. I have this wrapped up because it is dripping, which really sucks. So T20, I already did the other side. Pop that screw out and literally comes right out. Literally this whole bumper, take off those two screws. It's crazy, crazy work. Okay guys, time to put the bumper back on. I finished painting and I tinted my fog lights. Oh, they look so good, guys. The spray paint came out beautifully. Don't mind my fingerprints. And the tint, I just finished it. This is my first ever tint and it came out perfectly. So I got him all screwed back in, plugged back in. Only problem I'm having right now is I think I broke a piece of this little connector. Just a little tiny chunk of it right there. And it's been leaking a lot. So I think I finally ran out of juice and I need to like JB weld it or something on to here so it doesn't leak anymore. And then we're gonna throw this thing back up. Okay, so I couldn't film for you guys because I don't have a tripod, so I just had to put it on there. So I had it on a bin, had the bin under it, so it's pretty high. And then, you know, I kind of lined up the edges. Okay, so I kind of lined up the edges while I was sitting on a bin, so it was pretty high. And I kind of literally just pushed it on into place. These kind of lined up, the two holes. And then I put a screw in there and a screw in there just temporarily to hold it. And I came to each side and I pushed in with my leg and I pushed in like that, the connection there. It'll snap into place. And I came to this side and pushed in this side so it lines up under here. So that's all I've put in so far. And then I just put in the 4 screws right there. So that's all I've done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Phillips and I'm going to put the 2 Phillips in there. Okay, so I got my 2 Phillips. That's what they look like. I think that connector fell out because it's supposed to connect right there. But anyway, so right here we have, actually I think that's for the, okay, mine fell out, but it should be one right there, Phillips right there. And the second one is right back there. This whole piece on mine is broken, actually broken loose, so, but you should have a second one right there. So because mine is missing, I am just gonna put a zip tie in that, and it's still very sturdy. So I just put a zip tie up in there. And then I also zip tied my two washer fluid lines because the tape ripped. So we're all good there. And now that you've gotten both screws in right there and right there, and it's tight, don't forget you have this plug. Make sure it's snapped in right there and right there. Inspect the connector. Mine looks great. Make sure you hear it snap, and then it fits in that hole right there. So that's exactly where it was. Double check that it's tight. Those are for the wheel well. Those are for the wheel well. So those two. So what we're going to do next is bolt in those bolts right there, the T30. They're just under the driver plate. Here's the front hook. You have 6 Torx. They're the big ones. They look like that. Make sure you put the painted black ones right there on the black. Hand thread them first. Make sure they go in smoothly. So I just like to. You got 1, 2, 3, 4s all the way over there. And then we got 2 of the nice black ones right there. Tying those down, that's probably torque spec, but it's just for the bumper, so just make sure they're tight and not going anywhere. And like I said, they are Torx 30. So once you get the 6 Torx down there tightened down, everything up here is tightened down. The bumper feels really sturdy, so I don't think we're really missing much more. Obviously, we got some things here for the upper grill, the lower slat, and the wheel well, but I'll make sure we got everything. Don't forget to put on this little lower plastic skid plate down there, so it goes right on this lip here. Give it a good push, make sure it kind of snugs down. And then you will need a flathead, preferably wide one. Mine is not wide. Just where you put the Torx. And then I like to push them up there. If they're easy enough, you can kind of turn them by hand. The guy just did. This one's got to find its hole. There we go. Okay. Okay, now it's back on. This is sticking out a little bit. There we go. Okay, on the ignition real quick. And I came up here. I turned on my fog lights, make sure they work. And both fog lights are working, so everything's plugged back in. Looks sick. Okay, now I'm gonna put the dust shield back on. No, I'm washing it, but I probably should. Just make sure these are out of the way. I'm just gonna tuck mine kind of up there. Make sure they kind of stay out of the way. And then this goes right here. So in these little holes, if you guys remember, these go in first, and then you put the little screw inside second. And then don't forget the 2 screws down there. So if you guys remember these ones up here, so those 3, they take the empty one like that. That looks like that. You push it in the hole. And then you take this, just a little rod, and you push it in there. And then you got a Phillips right here, and you got a second Phillips right there. And then make sure it sits behind the trim here, and then that it goes behind on that part right there. And then you got two Phillips that go under here, right there on each fender, and then they screw into here. I'm just repeating the same steps on the driver's side. Double check that is plugged in and secure. Double check it feels tight, everything's tight that you touched and moved is back in the original spot, of course. Triple check everything. Last look at your control arms. I'll be replacing my control arm next week because look at that. I'm going on a very long road trip, 2 actually, so I need to replace that before I leave. Give it all a good look. And lubricate anything if you need to. And I look solid, so let's throw it back on. Okay, and all you have left are 4 of these, which is for the upper grill. I left one out. I think it's because it's because the white part fell out. So we used all the fasteners. Everything is tight. Everything looks really good. Now we can put the wheels back on and then the grill. But I'm painting mine, so. But I also found my phone's almost dead, so my flash is disabled. Is my ABS line was just free hanging, bouncing all over the place. So I found out that it goes right there. So whoever did the brakes on this last dropped the ball on that one. And I just dropped the screw and it goes right there. Finished, I put the wheels back on and jacked